Today we're going to analyze Clavicular's facial harmony and see what makes him so attractive. I wanted to do Clav today because I was actually on Clav's live stream today.
Do you think I can get to a true high tier normie level after Trimax?
I think so, but that's very hard to predict surgical outcomes. But I would say that you're not too far off now. I'd say that you've got good health indicators, pretty good features overall, great collagen, right? So I don't think that that's something that would be hard to do.
So part of why Clav is attractive is because of his insanely high facial harmony. We can see that he scores 8.62 out of 10. And for his front, he gets a 8.74. And for his side, he gets a 8.42. So that averages into 8.62 out of 10, which is a outstanding harmony. This is really good. This is probably the highest harmony out of most looksmaxxers. He might be number one in terms of facial harmony. Even though his harmony is 8.62, I don't think that's quite his overall facial score when we include the four pillars of facial harmony, misc features, slash coloring, angularity, and dimorphism. I do think he's attractive, but I think he's lower at a 7.25. I think 7.25 is fair for Clav, which is the best looking out of roughly 200 people. You see, he looks really good in these two pictures, but when we include things like him in videos and him in motion, him in like podcasts and other pictures, he doesn't look as good in these two pictures. So I think 7.25 is fair. So onto his front ratios. So his biggest deductor in his face overall is his ear protrusion angle. We can just visually see that he has pretty flared ears, and that's his biggest flaw in his face in terms of harmony. We can see that his value is 19 when it should be in the 11 range. So he has visibly flared ears, which isn't good, obviously. And his next failure is his mid-face ratio. He has an overly compact mid-face. This is quite similar to Jordan Barrett's flaw. So he has a short nose vertically, which contributes to the mid-face ratio being off. You see, Clav is getting a double jaw surgery with full facial implants, and I actually don't think that's the highest ROI that he can do. I think getting an autoplasty, fixing his ears, is a freebie right there. I think that'll ascend him the most in terms of ROI. And I think double jaw surgery will definitely ascend him, right? But I think getting an autoplasty right now will do him better than a double jaw surgery. But anyways, we can get into his next ratio. You see his ear protrusion ratio, another ear protrusion angle ratio that determines if you have flared ears or not. Lower third, these are his facial thirds. So his lower third is technically too big, but this isn't a big flaw, as this is a dimorphic masculine trait that you can have, and this gives you a more dominant look. So this is like a really minor flaw in my opinion. A bigger flaw would be his mid-face being too compact slash too short, and we can see it here. Yeah, Clav's mid-face is a bit too small. And his next biggest flaw is lower lip to upper lip ratio. This is a minor flaw. We can see that his lower lip is barely fuller than his upper lip, which is not the thing that we want. Bigonial width, his jaw is actually too wide. Again, like, this is a dimorphic trait. His lower third is really masculine, and part of that reason is because his jaw is wide. I don't think this is a flaw, to be honest. It technically is, but in my opinion, it isn't. And his next one is his deviation of lips lateral angle and jaw frontal angle. And this is because his midface is too wide, which contributes to an unideal deviation of it. He has medium low set eyebrows. This is good. Mouth corner position, perfect. And we can see that starting from mouth corner position, he gets everything perfect. Top third perfect, total FWHR perfect, lower third proportion perfect, ESR perfect, this is important. One eye apart test perfect. These are all perfect. We can just see that. Like, he has a positive canthal tilt. Eye aspect ratio, he has compact eyes. He has a wide neck. He has high set cheekbones. and he got these three ratios also perfect. Onto his side now. Nasal tip angle, his nose is too upturned. He doesn't pass the lip assessment because his chin is slightly recessed, actually. So that's part of the reason why Clav is getting a double jaw surgery, because he doesn't pass the lip assessments. His convexity is a bit off, and he has the flaws of a recessed face. It's not bad, but obviously it can be better. His nose is too overprojected, so that's a reason why he's also getting a rhinoplasty. And that would also ascend him hard, which I do agree with him getting. I think a nose job would be really good for him. His overall recession contributes to his convexity being off. Another ratio to determine if you have an overprojected or a underprojected nose. His nasal-mental angle is off because of the chin recession. Another lip assessment, he doesn't pass it. Frankfurt tip angle. Brow ridge inclination angle. He's recessed relative to Frankfurt plane, so his chin, we can see that his chin is recessed by a bit. Another lip assessment. Nasolabial angle. Gonal angle. His gonal angle is pretty much perfect. In a perfect world, it would be slightly more up. Nasofrontal angle. Starting from this, he gets everything perfect. So this indicates that he has a projected brow ridge, which is a dimorphic and good trait to have. Yeah, he gets everything here perfect. He has a long ramus relative to his mandible. Good submental cervical angle. Positive orbital vector. Facial depth to height ratio. His maxilla is projected. Moving on to his key strengths. He has ideal maxilla projection, and we saw that through this angle here. He has balanced jaw growth. He has a good jaw overall, and he has a harmonious facial convexity. He passes these two convexity ratios, and his worst flaws comes from his overly compact midface, which we saw in his middle third and his midface ratio. He has a short nose vertically, as we talked about, also messes up these two, and his protruded ears. So according to FaceIQ Labs, these three are his biggest flaws that deduct his harmony score the most. And since his ear protrusion is his worst flaw, FaceIQ Labs has a year plan and year potential tab, which is a new feature on the software here. And we can see that autoplasty is one of the suggested surgeries that he can do to ascend. And even the software knows that him fixing his ears will ascend him the most. And the risks are pretty low. It's less than double jaw surgery, of course, and the effectiveness is really high, and the recovery time is much faster. And we can see that it'll help with this protruded ears by reshaping or folding the ear cartilage, and it costs much less than a double jaw surgery. A double jaw surgery would cost about 20 to like 30K usually if you go to a good surgeon, and this is so much cheaper than a double jaw surgery. So I think this will be the best for him. We can see that his potential is a 9.6 out of 10. So he can pretty much reach perfect side profile harmony with the plan that FaceIQ Labs gives us. We see that looks are really important as looksmaxxing has become really popular. We have plenty of studies showing that, especially in dating apps, that your looks is the number one thing to attract women and to get the benefits of the halo effect, which has been studied for many years. So knowing all those statistics and facts, if you want to know how attractive you are, and if you actually want to ascend with tailored advice to your specific face, including your overall score in your front and side harmony, which is a key factor into your attractiveness, you guys can click down my link down below in the description or in the pinned comments.